Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and today I'm checking out a Kenison knife. My first experience with a Kenison knife. I've never gotten to try them. They are somewhat some of my grails. I've always been fascinated. Oh my God, look at that. I've always been fascinated with these knives. I see them all over Instagram, and they are just sexy as all get out. They are just absolutely amazing. But do they hold up? Meaning just because they look really good doesn't mean that they are really good, but we're gonna find out. So let's check this out. Let's give this thing a run. So the action's good. Look at that blade. Oh my goodness, look at that blade. What a gorgeous blade. Holy cow. That is gorgeous. You can see the copper on the surface. I don't think it runs all the way through, but then again, I see a copper. Oh man, I'm not gonna be able to pick it up on the camera probably, but there's actually a copper wire or a separation of copper in between the core and the jacket. Man, this is beautiful. Look at that sheep's foot blade. It almost reminds me of an old Lambic whippersnapper. Very smooth. The flipper tab, nice big flipper tab. Personally, I don't mind a large flipper tab. The way I say it, as long as the action's good, and this has really, really good action. Good access to the lock bar, great access to the hole, great, oh man, yeah, that's a nice reverse flick. Very, very nice. Ooh. Great access, look at that. That's my style right there. Look at that, man, I love having good access like that. Now look at this micarta. My goodness, is that gorgeous. It has some blood red hues and then some really dark redness, and then I don't even know what this is. Is it coral or something? Or maybe it's some kind of micarta? I don't know. It looks like coral to me. I don't know. Then we have a copper backspacer. You know that's going to bring up the weight. Titanium milled pocket clip. The pivot is, you can see that I'm guessing it's custom made pivot. It looks really good. Everything's lined up. I love how you can see the jacket all the way through and through. Absolutely beautiful. The centering is perfect too. Now, right off the bat, and I'm not going to sit here and drag this thing for anything, but I will say it does feel chunky. It feels wide. And this is something that I've experienced quite a bit as far as handmade knives go. Now, I'm not saying all his knives are like this. This is my only experience, and I have seen so many of his knives all over Instagram and all in my feed that, I'm sure he has all different kinds, from slim to thin to contoured to you name it. I don't know. But as far as this exact one goes, it is thick. It is thick. It is one thing you notice right away. It almost feels thicker than it's supposed to be. And then this choil area doesn't quite feel like a choil, except for you can do the trigger pull on it. My finger actually kind of fits in there pretty good, but I do feel the point just a little bit. But it's not bad. I mean, I could definitely use it like this, and most likely you're going to use it like this, or actually you're really going to use it like this. Because this isn't a knife you're going to be breaking down your cardboard with. This isn't going to be your work knife. Maybe it might be, but you're probably going to use the tip more than anything. The grind is super thin. Look at that grind. Oh my goodness, that thing, it's almost a full hollow, pretty much a full hollow grind, and you really feel how thin it gets, especially up here in the nose area. Gets a little bit more robust here in the back area by the sharpened choil, but they did a good job with the choil, so you're not going to get a smile when sharpening it. Absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, really, man, this is, what's really impressive about this? I gotta talk about this. What's very impressive about this is I've held a lot of customs. I have. Some of them, a lot of them, I'm gonna say most of them, are a lot rougher around the edge than you would expect. And if you've never held a custom, then you're not probably gonna understand this, but anybody who has is gonna know what I'm talking about. Production knives are better than customs in many cases, because their tolerances, their fit, their finish, their, the consistency is so well done, because everything is the same when it's built on an assembly line or whatever. So it's just, everything's fit together perfectly. These are hand done. But in many cases, custom knives can be rough around the edges, and it makes it to where a lot of production knives wind up feeling a little bit better. And it's not that they're technically better, it's that, you know, it's that they're cut out by machinery and everything. So, you know, they have the ability to do, you know, things faster and to tighter tolerances. And I'm not saying people can't do that by hand, because a lot of people can. There are some masters. And that's what I'm trying to say about this one. This has a production feel to it, while also very much having a custom feel. So, and I mean that in the best way possible. I'm trying to compliment it, because the tolerances, the way the detent breaks, you know, the break from the detent, you know, the way it drops, just all these little consistent details, just it feels like this is something that was, and I don't want to say mass produced, because it doesn't, I'm not saying mass produced, but the attention to detail is extreme on this thing. I can see why people love Kenison so much, because this is a high level of quality for handmade knives. I've felt very few handmade knives that had this level. Now, I'm not saying I have them, because I can name a few right now that were handmade that were on another level of extremely good. But I've also felt quite a few rough around the edge ones, right? One other very small nitpick, well, maybe not small, but one other nitpick is the clip. I'm not a fan of the way the clip works in and out of the pocket. You know, it's very thick right here, very tight, and it just, you know, with thick jeans, it's very rough on it. Not that it's aggressive and gonna rip it, but you can feel how tight it is in the pocket. Some people like that. I prefer smooth in and out of the pocket. You know, not saying that ruins this knife or anything. The clip still works just fine. You know, it's just, you know, when you deal with so many clips a year, you know, you start getting picky about the things that you never thought you would. Man, that brake is so good. Look how smooth that is. You can do the push button or light switch. Reverse flick is so good. Thumb flick is good. Lock up, rock solid. Very solid. But yeah, aside from the clip, the only thing is just that, yeah, it's a chunky boy. So, like, you know, take that as you will. I would prefer it to be maybe a little bit slimmer, maybe a little bit thinner blade stock, you know. I don't mind the blade stock thickness, but it feels a little bit thicker than it needs to be for such a short knife. If this was this big, you know, this big of a handle, then I would say perfect, you know, great thickness. But for such a short, you know, knife, it feels stumpy, and that's just a personal preference. You know, it's not saying anything about the quality or anything. It's just this example. It has a thick back. You know, it's thick, and that's it. You know, it's a thick boy. Hopefully I'll be able to maybe possibly get one in the future, or, you know, even just get more on the channel. This is not mine. This was sent in by an awesome viewer, and I do appreciate them letting me check this out. But this is going back, so it's not something I can continue to enjoy, but it's a good one. Anyways, shout out to Kenison, man. They're kicking ass. He's doing an incredible job, and, you know, it shows. Anyways, until next time, peace.